Welcome to the F Word Podcast, brought to you by Entertain Facts, the weekly podcast show where 3 or more friends sit around the table and talk all things entertainment. Today I have CEO and founder of Entertain Facts, Anthony.
Hello.
And a special guest, we have Beau.
Yay, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, thanks for coming. So, Beau, tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you know about the world of entertainment?
Okay, I consider myself born in the world of entertainment. I remember one of my first times viewing a movie was watching Star Wars with my father. And ever since then, I've been a big geek of all things entertainment, movies, games. Grew up, on the normal Nintendo, watching movies, reading comics. I've lived a life. I think I wouldn't say made a living, but made some coin being a video clerk, right? I've been a video clerk at Rogers Video for 7 or 8 years.
Before the fall.
Yeah, before the fall. I was there for the double VHS of Titanic.
Oh, wow. Nice. I remember buying the double VHS of Titanic.
Yeah, I was the Be Kind Rewind guy. Mm-hmm. Like, I hated rewinding those things. They always came back. And now I'm working at a video game store.
Nice.
Being a clerk for that until the downfall of the video game store, of course, because it all goes digital like movies.
Yeah. Well, there's that infamous meme that I always see on Instagram where it's like, it shows the evolution or de-evolution of a person's collection, like their video games. So you always have all the N64 games lined up, then your PS1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, and then now PS4 you have like 1 or 2 because everything's digital.
Happened to me. I'm living proof of that meme for sure,
You are, eh?
Yeah, all my XP1 PS4 games digital.
I think the only PS4 games I have are GTA and Destiny. Mm-hmm. That's it.
See, I'm a purist, so I'm still a guy that buys CDs. I buy records. Mm-hmm. I still buy all my video games, but what I do is now instead of keeping them, I just end up returning them. Getting a credit,
getting money back for them,
and then just transfer them over to a new one. So I don't own as many. But so not only do you work as a video game clerk, but you also do a weekly show yourself.
Yes, I am one part of 3 of the bonus round live on 91.3 FM CJTR.
And what times do you do these shows?
This is Wednesday, 6 to 7 p.m. Mm-hmm. That's how it's been for 5 years.
5 years you've been doing it for 5 years?
I've been doing it for 3 years, but it has been going for 5 years.
Okay.
I jumped in late. And then it gets replayed on Friday mornings, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Mm-hmm. Again, 91.3 FM CJTR. And you can also visit the Facebook. Hit us up. It's called the Bonus Round Live.
The link will be in the description as well if you're on YouTube. If not, go to YouTube and look in the description.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sweet. Well, guys, let's get into it.
But before we get into it, we have a sponsor for this episode, Daily Comic Facts.
Paying our bills.
DAILYCOMICFACTS.
So how it's supposed to be spelled.
Exactly, but some people don't know this.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
And you can find Daily Comic Facts on Instagram. He posts some great comic facts because I know some of you guys are those Marvel, DC fans. But he does post a bit of both. He's biased, He likes both teams. Go check him out. Go comment, follow.
Nice. Where do you stand on that front?
We talked about this last episode.
Okay, you guys covered this. Oh, okay.
Yeah, but now that you're here, you must.
Okay.
I thought it was stupid and it was completely fan made.
What?
The rivalry between Marvel and DC.
Oh yeah, for sure. But where do you stand? Are you a Marvel guy, DC guy?
I don't know, man. I like DC movies more. I like Batman, but I like Spider-Man too. Those are my boys. So I'm kind of biased towards both of them in a way.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yourself?
I'm definitely Marvel. I grew up, I still have the whole first 2 seasons of the Marvel cards back in the 90s.
Oh,
still I was watching Comic Book Men and someone sold them for over $1,000 to the Comic Book Men. So I'm like, to see those still under my bed. That's what I collected as a kid, right?
Nice.
Reading comics and superheroes. I was definitely a Marvel guy through and through. DC had nothing for me but the Batman and Superman universe.
Yeah.
So I know it's bigger than that, but
G, where do you stand?
I'm a little bit of both. I like the DC villains a little bit better, aside from the Spider-Man villains, like the whole Sinister Six. Like Spider-Man's own rogues gallery of villains, I love. Batman's rogues gallery of villains, I love. I would say, maybe a little bit influenced by the movies, but because I've always been a Spider-Man guy, he's been my number one. I'm most likely leaning towards Marvel myself. So this week we had a few bits of news, nothing too crazy. Daniel Craig finally agreeing to do the new Bond 25, which in my opinion it's just been him holding out for a little bit more money.
I give that story a giant wham. Daniel Craig again.
I'm not seeing.
Well, I don't know. The evolution of the Bond movies I haven't been fond of too much. It seems like they're more of an action movie than like a spy espionage movie.
Sure.
But I heard there was originally rumors of Clive Owen being Bond.
They had him on that slate.
Yeah, and I really would have loved to see Clive. I mean, Daniel Craig's good-looking man, great action star. But I don't know. I fell off the Bond wagon.
I haven't seen any James Bond movie. I think the only spy movies I've seen are Austin Powers.
Arguably the best.
Exactly.
I love those.
The actual first spy movie I've ever seen was Kingsman, The Secret Service.
Yeah. Which was also great.
Like, I'm gonna start watching some more 007, but after that, like before, Kingsman, I just wasn't really interested in
What a surprise Kingsman was. I thought it was going to be so bad.
The sequel this year. Oh, so hyped.
See, and I'm not sure about the sequel either because they're bringing Colin Firth back, and I don't know how they're going to play that out. I mean, it's in a universe where anything could happen.
Yeah.
The whole thing is like, oh, maybe he shot him in the eye and he survived somehow, right? No, I've been a Bond fan forever, but I've loved the Daniel Craig. Well, I think it's been, I guess you can say 3.
Yeah.
3 of them have been really good. Quantum of Solace. Spectre wasn't that great. So that would actually be 2 because it's only Casino Royale and then Skyfall.
That's right.
Aside from the Home Alone style ending of Skyfall, I love Skyfall. Man, if you check this out, if even just to see it, like all I could picture was the Home Alone soundtrack playing over top because they're going through the house, like this dilapidated house, picking things to use as like bombs and traps for it, shy of having paint cans attached to the strings and like little toy soldiers. So
maybe Kevin grew up to be James Bond.
Hey, that would be a story.
Exactly,
that would be a story. Ran away from home.
Yeah.
So aside from the that Bond news, I think the biggest one too that they were talking about is Wonder Woman. It's at 750 mil and climbing.
It's disgusting.
And it's also the longest running box office run since Blade, they said, for a superhero movie, which is huge. I love the movie. You love the movie.
Oh, yes.
Beau, you haven't seen it yet.
I haven't seen the movie. I'm sure it's great. And I also want to chime in that Blade is arguably the best soundtrack to a superhero movie.
So good. So good.
That
Have you seen the original Blade?
No.
Man, you have to check it out. I'll let you borrow it.
I see it right there.
It's here.
Where is it?
I see it up there.
No, we'll get it later.
It's in alphabetical
order.
Oh, it
is,
on the BL.
On the BL.
Yeah.
Blade 2, also very good. Guillermo del Toro crushed it with that one. But that first one, that soundtrack was nuts. Darude all over the place.
I know, man. So popular.
So popular.
But Wonder Woman I haven't seen. I'm excited because I hear this is kind of DC's first outing in the Hollywood silver screen of like critically acclaimed. This is amazing.
Yeah, people liked it. Everybody liked it across the board. It's not as divisive as B versus S or Suicide Squad. Even though Suicide Squad made money, they're doing a sequel.
It was entertaining romp. I thought it was entertaining romp.
Those movies aren't as bad as everyone says they are, in my opinion.
In your opinion?
I'll defend BVS till I die. That was my favorite superhero movie ever.
Oh my gosh.
We're gonna have to have a smackdown on that one.
Yeah, that's yikes.
But that's cool. I get it.
It's entertainment. Everyone's got their own opinion. Yeah.
There's some people, like I know some, like my brother, he doesn't mind it. Like he didn't, mind you, maybe he doesn't see it as critically. He's just I saw Batman fight.
Exactly.
I saw Superman fight.
Yeah.
It
I was
distracted
short by the just great fight that would last like 5 minutes.
The Doomsday?
That was the only...
No, the actual initial fight.
Between Batman and Superman. Yeah, it wasn't really a versus movie.
No.
Yeah, and because
misleading.
And they kind of threw that, like they shouldn't have done that. My thing was the trailer. But anyways, aside from that, it's Wonder Woman crushing it. But they are doing a sequel, which was expected because it crushed.
Yeah.
Patty Jenkins not officially signed the dotted line to be back, but they're thinking of doing it in the 80s.
During the Cold War, and a lot of fans have cold feet about this topic.
Wow.
Jeez.
Exactly.
He's getting punny.
Oh man, just wait for it.
Getting funny.
Just wait.
This is just the beginning?
Oh man, we've only just begun.
Nice. Yeah, Cold War, kind of weird. I don't know.
We were talking about it before. I said like I didn't like it because I know that most of the characters won't survive because it's kind of like Rogue One, or like they're not going to show up because you've already seen all the other installments and like most of the cast dies.
It's weird because the cinematic universe is already beyond that. It'd be like Marvel doing a prequel to their cinematic universe when they're already moving towards the Infinity War and going back in time.
Or Captain America 2 would, instead of being the Winter Soldier, was him like 1 or 10 years later, like him doing it in the 80s or fighting hippies or something in the 70s. 70s was
I don't know.
Age, right?
Yeah.
So it would have made sense. Like they brought him to now so they can further the story.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
So I'm confused, but I mean, if it's as good as anyone says the first one is, sign me up.
Well, to be fair, I guess you can't really have a big baddie villain take on Wonder Woman in this whole cinematic universe if they're trying to like do Justice League and have Man of Steel kind of be like where he takes on the big bad guys. So I guess in a way it would make sense for Wonder Woman not to be facing gods in the middle of Earth and like no one really helping her out.
Okay, so you're talking about like because it's going to be a standalone thing. It's kind of like the argument with Marvel. It's like, why doesn't Iron Man show up? Where's Captain America? Where's Thor? And all
until they
this?
do show up, and then everyone just complains about it.
It's like the Guardians movie. I look at those as standalones, even though they have Infinity Stones and stuff.
Sure.
There's no tie-in or talk of like the superheroes on Earth.
Right.
So.
I think in Guardians too, the only thing they did mention was like there was like a little sprinkling of Civil War. They mentioned it. Someone had told me. One of the movies I haven't seen yet. I really want to.
Bad.
I just haven't seen it yet.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my god, bro.
Really good.
You hate Spider-Man
Amazing
2, you
space
love
opera.
Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I don't know what to do with you.
Yeah, this is fact.
Well, and aside from that, so we've got Wonder Woman crushing it.
Yeah.
War of the Planet of the Apes coming out this weekend, and it seems
Which
to be
has
crushing.
94% currently on Rotten Tomatoes.
Which is hard to believe.
It's crazy.
It came out so strong. I love the reboots. I'm like, this is amazing.
Yeah, and Matt Reeves came on in the second one. He didn't direct the first one, so he was able like the first one was good.
Oh,
Weird opinion, I like the first one better than the second.
Really?
Oh, yes.
no, I'm with you on that one. I'm with you on that one. I felt it more.
I love James Franco.
Me
I just
too.
love that guy in there.
Dawn for me was huge. Like Dawn was a huge step up. Just like that, I felt it was more. James Franco was good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a huge Gary Oldman fan.
Yeah.
So I thought he was great,
Yeah.
and he was the great juxtaposition to who was it? Cuba.
Yeah.
Like they were those two were kind of the equal, like the same person on either side, and then Caesar being on his side, and it felt like a more personal story to me, at least to me, like amongst all the chaos. That's what it was, because stuff had already hit the fan. So
Yeah. One was a
that's
setup,
what
and
for
it
me.
ended with a
One thing I don't really, not like dislike with them, but I don't really understand how at the end of Dawn, they're all kind of peaceful, right? Like monkeys are just going to do their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
But then I see these trailers like they're ready to murder humans, and it's just like
It's
a
getting out of
huge
control.
time jump.
Yeah, it's getting out of control.
But I mean, where do you go?
Where do you go? Yeah, that's the next logical step.
Yeah.
And with the fourth one coming out, that's going to be interesting.
Well, it's probably going to tie into the original. Like they're looking at getting closer.
I
and
heard
closer
it's going to be
to
something about
Charlton
reptilians
Heston.
or something.
Yeah, well, and I mean, it's going to. Like they're just pushing closer and closer to that tie-in. Like the Tim Burton one doesn't exist in everybody's mind. It was
agreed.
just kind of a big mess.
Ugh.
But we have that Spider-Man coming out strong. We're halfway through the year. I think it's kind of fair to kind of review the year, see how it's been so far. Beau, in terms of like movies this year, that's kind of been standouts, and kind of how you thought the first half of the year has gone.
Yeah. I got a disclaimer to say before we go any farther. I've been slacking this year, boys.
Have you?
Got a girlfriend, fell in love.
It's gonna
A
happen.
lot less games and music and movies, so I'm not as like hardcore as I once was. I used to watch like a movie a day, guaranteed. But I would say my favorite. Y'all probably not going to want to hear this, but Guardians 2.
Guardians of the
They killed it.
Right in the heart, but
It's
why?
the space opera. Like it's better than Star Wars. It's better than Star Trek. Like they did it. They did
Really,
it.
eh?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
I would say,
no.
well, I'll put it this: I'm going to back him up on one thing. The Force Awakens was fine. Rogue One was fine. Guardians 1 is definitely, to me, in my opinion, better than The Force Awakens and Rogue One.
Agreed.
However, I don't know if I can put it on top of Empire, just because I remember when it came. It was such like a huge. It was like, aside from like the Shyamalan movies that you're expecting a twist.
Yeah.
That had the twist of all twists, right? Like people that see it
Massive.
now are just, their mind is blown. So I think that, but in terms of the newer time, like for Star Wars,
It's kind of. I always think it's unfair to compare movies from like the last generation to modern times.
That's a good point.
Because movies have advanced so much.
That's a good point.
In style and writing.
Yep.
So like Star Wars didn't have. Star Wars now every character is funny, right? Like Guardians. Back in the day, not every character was funny. They all some had serious roles and were there for plot. And
To
so
be
it feels
fair,
hard.
I know you classic fans don't want to hear this, but The Force Awakens being like my first time seeing a Star Wars movie in theaters,
Probably amazing.
best
It's a
Star Wars
retread.
movie I've seen.
Yeah.
see, and that's
And
where
I saw it
this
in 4D
generation
too,
gap.
so I had that extra kind of experience.
I get it, man. It's a retread of an amazing movie. So
Yeah.
if you're jumping in for the first time,
Hey man, the first Star Wars movies, aside from Empire, I remember seeing New Hope and Empire first, but let's say my first movie going experience with Star Wars was the prequels.
Yeah.
That was mine. And unfortunately, it wasn't very
Oh,
good.
dang.
Right?
That's
Like, even from
upsetting.
the beginning, like, I went and saw them, and I was like, I don't know if I like this that much.
George
Like,
Lucas, hang it up, bud.
oh, yeah, definitely. He went too
Struck
far.
out.
Yeah.
Technically speaking, like,
Looks
in
like
terms
he-
of
oh, wow.
effects,
Oh, it's beautiful.
incredible.
It's beautiful.
Like, and that's where George Lucas is, like, his thing is, he's, in terms of technology, he takes it
Yeah.
up there. Like, he's
Agreed.
insane with it. So yours is Guardians 2 for the year favorite.
I gotta say, yeah.
Anthony.
Okay, I don't really like picking comic book movies as my favorite, I will say the best comic book movie of this year is probably Logan. But
Logan,
maybe one of the best that I've seen so far. Like Beau, I haven't seen a lot because I've just been busy. Doing other stuff.
Life happens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But Get Out, for being like the first time, it's Jordan Peele.
Yes.
Yeah. First time he directed a movie and it gets like almost 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. It was so good
and crushed at the box office. Like just this guy that's been doing comedy who apparently has his passion for horror.
Exactly.
See, I love horror.
Yeah.
I love horror movies. Probably my favorite genre. It's always done terribly. That and sci-fi seem to be the hardest ones to do like really well.
Do you think it's because they go more for a campy route than like in
I don't
jump
know.
scares?
Well, I hate
See, like my
them.
favorite campy is like Josh Whedon's Cabin in the Woods. Like there has been
great
campy,
movie.
funny.
Yeah.
I don't like how in horror movies, like people like Jason somehow always lose to these little teenagers who have no idea what's going to happen, and he's just this immortal guy. But somehow he always doesn't kill them, doesn't always win.
And the tropes are always the same.
It's always the same. It's always retreaded.
Yeah.
But
So
Get Out, I heard it's not even really a horror.
It's
I heard
more
it's
a
more of a
thriller,
thriller, like a psycho thriller.
Speaking of thriller, Split was really good too.
Split was
Yes,
good.
agreed. Two thumbs up.
Another one I haven't seen yet.
So I would
That's a
say
big one.
it's tied between Get Out and Split.
Split, I like a Split. Not many movies do this, but I felt sick to my stomach.
Really?
Like the things this grown man is doing to these like teenage girls. I feel really uneasy. I feel queasy. The score made me feel like nauseated. I'm like, ooh, what's going on here?
Yeah.
I was a big fan of Split.
So it was actually a visceral experience.
Yeah, two
like,
thumbs up.
something that's cool.
Like it's real. I mean,
And
that
you, like,
happens to people.
All
like that.
of the guys' different personalities, you felt like they were all different characters. Like they were just random people that you didn't see on screen at the same time, but you felt like they were talking to each other behind the scenes. They were plotting things out, planning things, and it was just so good.
And like an M. Night Shyamalan movie, you rewatch it and you see him lay down all the pieces.
Exactly.
You're like, oh, I see the twist now before.
I heard something that he was filming with the toothbrushes at the very end, and he kept on reshooting it until they eventually, the shadows started looking like the 23 different, they looked like 23 different people. Yeah.
Pay attention to detail.
I like
So
that
when
a
you
lot.
watch it for the first time, look out for that, G.
I will. I haven't seen it yet. So when I do see it, I'm pretty excited because Unbreakable is one of my favorites.
It's great.
Like, it's probably my top 20. It's awesome.
Wow. Nice.
When you see it,
Yeah.
I hope you're not split about your decision, though.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Honey.
All right.
You'll like it. I know you'll like it.
Oh, yeah.
Mine is probably going to be. It's between. It's a comic book movie because I haven't been able to get out much and watch them.
Transformers?
No.
Okay,
God,
good.
no.
Yikes, I
No,
hope
no.
not.
I'd probably say Logan
Logan.
because again, I
People
haven't
say
seen
Logan.
Guardians. I haven't seen Split. I haven't seen Get
Yeah.
Out. Caught a couple things on Netflix, stuff like that. Last year there was a lot more independent movies that I liked, like your Hacksaw Ridges.
So
Ridges
good.
great.
Amazing. Hell or High Water was
Hell or High
another one I
Water was
loved. Arrival was another one I really liked.
Arrival was my number one.
Was
last
it?
Year.
Oh yeah,
Unbelievable.
Even Nocturnal Animals.
Nocturnal Animals is great.
I mean, from a person that's never directed anything, like a fashion icon that directs a movie, like great.
That's
great
Gyllenhaal,
movie.
right?
Gyllenhaal,
He's always in
Amy
great
Adams,
movies.
Michael Shannon was in
yeah,
there too.
that's a great cast.
But yeah, I'm probably going to say Logan
Logan.
was because I remember when they first showed X-Men in 2000.
Oh,
when
remember
it first came
X-Men
out,
used
like
to
the
be
first
the
one.
kings of comic books.
They crushed it. They
Yeah.
were the best. And I've always liked Hugh Jackman. And I've
Yeah.
always liked even in the crappy ones, aside from Origins, there were parts of Origins where
Like Deadpool's just the best part.
yeah, but even in Origins,
No, it
can't
wasn't.
say that. Oh jeez, I know, but it's good that happened because then we got
Yeah.
the Deadpool that we got.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
mean, even in Origins, Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, love him to death.
He's great.
In the Wolverine, it didn't end as strong as I wanted it to.
Yeah.
But there
He's
was
so
also that
great.
tie-in to Logan.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was great.
And yeah, that tie into Logan was well. And I don't know if it was a direct tie. Like, are you talking about the Heart line?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the line where I don't know if that was a direct thing. Probably was because
Yeah.
James Mangold directed it. So he directed both. So that's incredible. But yeah.
So what happens with Logan now? Do they resurrect Logan like the comic books, or does Laura X-23 become Wolverine in the comic books?
If they're not going to do X-23, then there was like really no point of Logan.
Right.
If they just you can't beat Hugh Jackman and Wolverine. Like it's like Heath Ledger. He's always going to have that high standpoint where like no one's going to be able to.
Everyone says Heath
beat him.
Ledger, but what's it? Yeah.
So I feel
Are
like
you a Jack Nicholson guy?
Yeah, he was great. People always undercut his performance.
Well, I think the reason why I think it's less undercutting, but more just again they didn't grow up at that time, so it wasn't new to them. It seemed campy. Like even Cesar Romero's Joker, everyone laughs and it's like this is the most ridiculous thing ever.
Yeah.
and Coley Backcow,
Well,
And he wasn't the main. Like I kind of consider the Joker the main character in the Dark Knight. There, like he is.
yes. Well, and
He's the character.
there's a lot of people that say like in terms of a Batman movie, they still like Batman Begins better because that's a Batman movie as opposed to the second one being the Joker movie.
Yeah.
But we talked about this with Spider-Man where the Vulture was ever present throughout the movie, as opposed to in some other ones where, like a Guardians 1, again, my only gripe is the fact that, you know, Ronan was kind of in and then he was gone and you didn't really care about him because you were focused on the team, right?
He was definitely the worst part of the movie.
100%.
Ronan was the worst part.
But in terms of like villains, a lot of them, they're in for the scene, they're gone, you kind of forget about them until they come back again.
Yeah.
You look at the Heath Ledger's Joker, he was ever present throughout the entire city. Everything that was going on, he was in there. And they did not as good of a job, but they did a pretty similar or a good job with the Vulture, where he was ever present with everything. So that was really cool.
Made for intense moments.
Yeah,
for sure.
But in terms of Logan, like for me, it was more so. I don't care if they do X-23. I know they're doing New Mutants. They're doing all this other stuff. For me, it was just like the perfect movie to end. Like,
yeah, it was
Hugh
great.
Jackman. He actually finally got his standalone. Because if you look at them, Origins sucked.
Yeah.
The Wolverine, meh. And then Logan just was great. Like there was so much heart in it.
Yeah, I don't know what it was, man. Maybe it was the R rating. Maybe the director could do whatever they wanted. Like they weren't tied by strings or censorship. But
Yeah, and it helps
just
because
came
you
out.
actually saw Wolverine rip fools apart.
And actually
go
felt like an
berserk.
R-rated movie opposed to Deadpool, which was kind of...
Yeah, it
didn't
was
feel like it was R.
Well,
Yeah.
it did feel it was R in terms
It was
of like
violent.
the
The
in
language,
terms of
I
the
guess.
language,
Yeah.
Because you mean if you do a PG movie or PG-13, I think you're only allowed one F-bomb
Yeah,
and maybe
this is
like
true.
a little bit of blood or something. Because you look at X-Men Apocalypse, wasn't that great? But that Hugh Jackman scene where he was in there, like all you don't see him when he's slashing people.
Yeah, it's
with
implied.
blood everywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
But when you see them on their bodies down, there's blood on the walls and so on and so forth. So it's less right in your face and more again implied. These people they are dead, so to speak.
Wolverine messed them up.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
But in comparison to last year, there's less. I wouldn't say there's less independent movies, but there's less independent movies out in the limelight, right?
I would agree with that 100%.
Again, I didn't know anything about Hell or High Water, but I knew it was coming out.
Yeah.
I knew Hacksaw Ridge was coming out.
Yeah.
And they were towards the tail end. Baby Driver, Get Out, and Split are probably the most talked about, at least that I can just think of right now.
Yeah, I think so. And upcoming Dunkirk, I think.
Dunkirk.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think
my
those
God.
are the ones.
But Nolan's in that upper echelon of directors that you hear his name and everyone just kind of gets out of the bushes. Like they're all like,
think so.
"Oh, where? What's going on? I want to see this."
Yeah.
and he's proven it.
And with
He's-
all IMAX cameras, oh my God.
I think
It's gonna be
visually
beautiful.
it's going to be incredible. Yeah.
It always is. He makes amazing movies.
Yeah. So then, where do you guys see the year going further? Do we have anything that's kind of anticipated? Do we think that this, like, so far it's been a letdown, and you think it's going to continue being a letdown?
I think the best blockbuster movie this year may very well be Star Wars.
Yeah.
Oh,
What's
yes.
happening next? Because it's not going to be a retread. I think it's going to be a brand new idea.
Yeah.
Sure, she's the last Jedi. She's being trained. Like we've kind of seen that before, kind of. But I think the movie will go in a direction that we haven't seen before, which will make it great. I can't wait.
I don't know what any other standalone movies coming out. On top of my head, I know Dunkirk's the most hyped
Dunkirk
one
is so hyped.
for the year, basically, you could say. I think Justice League, can't wait for that because I'm a DC kind of fanboy, but I'm still I'm not biased
man,
towards them.
Every time I see Aquaman on Batman's car and jumping off, I'm just like,
Yeah.
You're not a fan of that one?
not a
eh?
fan of that.
Really?
I'm excited.
Oh.
I'm totally going to watch that in theaters.
Yeah,
Who
for
isn't?
sure. Yeah, it's kind of one of those things you're going
it's
to
a
see.
spectacle.
Even BVS, like when the trailers are coming out, I was like, they're kind of going a different route with this. I still went and
You
saw
got to.
it.
I did
Like,
too. I did too.
It's
you have to.
because I don't know. It's giving the DC a chance. Not that they need the money because Warner Bros is still doing pretty
Oh
good.
yeah, they're doing fine.
But yeah,
But for movies I'm hyped for, I think this past 6 months of movies, or 7 I guess now,
Yep.
have been really good. I've liked almost everyone except for Guardians of the Galaxy.
Which is crazy, dude.
I absolutely there's
I don't
no
get
plot
it.
in it.
yeah, but he doesn't like he didn't like Deadpool either. We talked about.
I did.
You liked it, but you didn't like it as much as everybody
was
else.
overhyped.
Okay,
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
like Deadpool.
Really?
My problem with Deadpool is that there was 5,000 jokes and only 10 of them hit. Like it was trying to be funny all the
interesting.
time.
Yeah.
And I laughed a lot, but I'm
Yeah,
a lot of times the jokes fell flat.
And it's not as good as everyone says it is.
Well, my thing was, I think a lot of the jokes were in the trailers.
Yes, definitely.
The majority of the good jokes were in the trailers.
I feel like that's
and
when
they still had a lot of good ones in the movie.
Yeah.
But I was looking. I remember watching it. I'm like, I really like this. I enjoyed it a lot just because I like the character.
Yeah.
And it's just like an achievement. Like even you hear the backstory and everything like that.
Yeah, it's cool.
And I still think it's like I said. I think at the time, just in my head, I'm like, yeah, I'd give this 8.5 out of 10, easy.
Yeah,
And I still stick
that's
to it
good.
because I can still watch it again, right? But yeah.
But
that's fair.
yeah, I think what was I going off? I think my most hyped movie is definitely Justice League or Star Wars 8.
Yeah.
Okay.
Star Wars 8, man. Get ready.
Bo?
But before I kind of
yeah.
close off, with Deadpool, how the jokes are all in the trailer.
Yeah.
I feel like Thor 3, where he says yes, he's my friend from work. same deal. No one's gonna laugh in the theater.
I agree. But my beef is that I think all of Homecoming's jokes were in the trailer. I was quite surprised at how Peter Parker wasn't funny. Because in Civil War, when he was Spider-Man, he was the one cracking jokes while everyone was fighting, and I was laughing.
But Ned Lead was more the funny guy.
Who?
Ned Lead.
Right.
Yeah.
His
all the characters that surrounded Spider-Man were actually funnier. It was still a funny movie, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But Peter Parker was definitely more serious, like finding himself role.
And I think that's what they focused on a lot, too, is that whole finding himself while his buddy was taking care of the joke.
I think Peter needs to take a day off. Ferris Bueller.
I get it.
It's very Ferris Bueller.
No, thank you. Anticipated for yourself?
Star Wars.
Star Wars is
100%.
Like up there?
100%. How can it not be, man? Star Wars. It's like one of the best sci-fi of all time. Mm-hmm. I've always been a sci-fi guy, right? Like, you tell me Lord of the Rings, man, I fell asleep in every single one of those movies in the theaters. There's 5 movies I fell asleep in. Lord of the Rings 1 and 2, I didn't watch the third one, and 3 Transformers movies.
Shia LaBeouf?
Yeah.
Oh my god, Beau, no.
Transformers I get. After the first one, for me, I was just like,
oh, kind of what happened? Then you watch Pacific Rim, you're like, wow, that's how you make robots fight monsters.
But it didn't have Shia LaBeouf, and that was a saving point for me. I love Shia
LaBeouf. Thank God he's done.
I think he's a great actor. Like, he's a good actor, and people, I think his antics overshadow his actual ability.
Yeah.
If you guys ever get a chance to see Fury.
So good.
Which one is that?
David Ayer's
the tank
Fury.
One?
It's about these guys that pretty much live in a tank during the war. Brad Pitt's in it.
Yeah.
The Punisher, John Bernthal's in there.
That's right.
Michael Pena's in it.
And the guy who played Percy Jackson. What's his name?
Yeah, I forget his name.
Oh, the Canadian?
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure Michael Pena was the other one, too.
Oh, yeah. What's his name?
I have no
Jay
idea.
Baruchel or something. Was
No,
Percy?
not Jay Baruchel.
Oh, I thought he was with Nick Cage in Percy.
Percy Jackson.
Oh, what
the
am I
myth
talking
one?
about?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's like magic and sorcery.
No, it's like with Poseidon.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
The young, handsome dude, the bald guy. Yeah,
I know what you're talking about. I can't remember the name, but I know exactly what you're talking about. That train wreck of a movie. Oh my God. But yeah, David Ayer's Fury, like how he was in it, Shia LaBeouf almost stole the show. Mm-hmm. He was incredible.
I think a major beef with the Transformers movies is that I hate how they're about humans.
Yeah, no.
Humans shouldn't be center stage. They should be there, but it's about the robots first and foremost.
So then, Star Wars,
100%.
In terms of sci-fi, how hyped are you for Valerian? Did you like the Fifth Element first? Because it's the same
I love Fifth Element. I love it.
Are you stoked for Valerian?
It's weird, like the guy that did Lucy. No one cares about Lucy.
Yeah,
I saw Lucy. It was okay.
It should have just been the Black Widow movie.
Yeah, right. 100%. Yeah. Or like Atomic Blonde or Atomic Kitten.
I heard that's really good. It's like
really good. Atomic Blonde. I'm stoked for.
Yeah.
And they had a featurette that's what I'm excited for because it's the same guys that did John Wick.
Okay, yeah, which is great action movies.
Great.
They know their action movies.
I'm going to watch the second one tomorrow.
And Keanu doing the things himself was huge too. And there's a featurette with Charlize doing a lot of them. Now, she didn't put as much effort as Keanu Reeves did because Keanu Reeves put in over 6-7 months of training.
It almost killed him as much as he killed other people.
Yeah. He's a master.
Exactly.
Master of kills.
I'm just gonna.
Charlize is a beast, though. Like Mad Max, you're like, dang.
And she's got such a physical presence.
Yeah.
If they do a Furiosa movie, I'm all in. She's awesome in that.
I'm in. But sci-fi Valerian, I'm super hyped for.
You're hyped for it?
I'm a big fan of the Valerian.
It looks mad to me from all the trailers.
Everyone says, "Man, like, have you seen it?"
Visually,
it looks like on par with Avatar. I'm like, I know it won't be when it's all said.
I didn't like Avatar that much.
I didn't either.
I don't think I saw it. Actually,
I didn't either.
All the way through, I think I stopped.
I think Avatar's hype was a lot to do with
3D
technology,
the technology that was there. Like
beautiful.
It was incredible, and he created this world that was.
But I think like the new they're trying to do like a trilogy or something.
Yeah, 5 movies.
I think that's going to flop.
I think 2 and 3 are almost done.
Yeah,
isn't it?
He's done. No, he's done writing all 5.
Yeah.
They haven't shot anything yet, and he's still waiting. They haven't released a trailer. They haven't done anything. It's been talked about for years.
That has to be one of the top grossing movies of all time.
It still is.
Yeah, because it came back.
Star Wars almost beat it.
Star Wars almost beat it, but no, it still is, and that's what people are trying to beat right now. Like it was lightning in the bottle for everybody, and at the time technology wasn't there.
Yeah,
it hit.
It was beautiful.
For me, I'd probably say Thor Ragnarok. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Aside from like Atomic Blonde, I'm super excited for. I'm curious about Valerian because I love The Fifth Element. I know me and my fiance watched it a couple nights ago, and I'm just like, this movie is still so good.
It's amazing.
Have you seen it?
No.
Check it out. It's really good.
I've seen a lot of movies.
That's probably like the last good movie Mila Jovovich.
Yeah. The Resident Evil ones.
Yeah, the Resident Evil movies suck, but she was so good in it. Bruce Willis actually caring about a role.
Yeah.
Great movie. And it's the same guy, Luc Besson, is directing this one. So, but yeah.
It's an interesting cast, right? Like,
Dane DeHaan
those 2 guys are kind of nobodies.
Cara Delevingne?
Yeah.
They look the same.
Yeah.
They look like they're brother and sister, which might be the play on the thing, but like even in real life. Like,
well, they're two horrible villains coming together.
Yeah.
So
you're right. Because from
Green Goblin and Enchantress,
Spider-Man 2, not very good. Enchantress was a nightmare.
See, here's the deal, guys. I liked Amazing Spider-Man 2.
But you hated Spider-Man 2?
I just disliked it. I don't say I hate it, but
wow.
Because Amazing Spider-Man 1 was such like a Resident Evil plot. Like, I'm going to throw gas out that turns everyone into lizards. I'm like, I don't care.
Oh, okay.
And then Amazing Spider-Man 2, I thought with Electro was just money. Even though, and you know what, I'm a huge fan of like old school Electro in the cartoon of like yellow lightning bolts, green jumpsuit.
Sure.
But I like the new reimagining. And Gwen Stacy dies. Like, you know what was hit me the hardest about Homecoming? The best parts when I'm like, oh my god, is someone going to die? Like, this is serious. Like, Peter Parker might die.
Yeah.
I'm like, Vulture might die.
But then you realize Peter Parker's in like 5 other movies, so he's good.
Well, and that's a tough
I like
thing
people
too.
dying adds like
there's
a sense of.
But
like,
in comic book movies, they always come back, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Time travel or like rebirth or some Phoenix magic. I don't know.
Yeah, but for me, Thor Ragnarok looks like a lot of fun.
Thor Ragnarok, I respect. That might very well be the best superhero movie of the year.
Well, I've got such high hopes for it. And the reason is because Taika Waititi is, especially after they do their shorts, working in the comedy. I think the comedy's going to land a little bit more. I mean, I'm worried, though, that they might go too much comedy. But then you look at the other Thor movies, the other Thor ones were very serious. Mm-hmm. So it could be a flop.
In my opinion, it's kind of like they're kind of rehashing Guardians in a way. It's like when I watched it, I thought it was.
But you got to realize is that now they're moving into that galaxy, so it wouldn't make sense. I think we talked about this on the first episode. To me, it wouldn't make sense for them to go to a Dark World style palette, like color scheme, because
it's at the end of the world.
I know. Well, no, they were in a different section of the universe. Like when he was talking in the first one about those Tree of Life or whatever in the different universe.
Oh, I thought talking about Thor, sorry.
No. But this one, it's closer. They're closing in on the Guardians, so wouldn't it make sense that the color scheme would be the same? Like that's my argument for it when someone's like, well, it looks like Guardians. Well, music's a different era because I think they're off by 10 years in terms of music. Not 100% sure. But it's got that feel of Guardians, sure, with its own thing. But again, they're in that universe. So...
Yeah, like I think it's supposed to. This is what's happening during Civil War, boys. Like this is like we're going to find out a lot of meaty stuff. I think towards the cinematic. Guardians is like a kind of standalone.
I think
it'll introduce Thanos.
I'm still excited for it. I think it'll Ragnarok a lot of people's world. You know,
I just don't know. Oh my god, you had to. Okay, I get it.
They just come naturally to them.
All right, let's get into this. We're getting out of movies, getting into some TV.
Yeah,
Game of Thrones
hype
coming up on Sunday. Finally,
I gotta say.
Go for it.
I don't interrupt, but I feel like this is kind of like under-advertised.
It is. I haven't seen any advertisements.
People are just hyped because they know about it and they're looking for it. But I think they're doing a poor job getting in people's faces.
But really, who doesn't know about Game of Thrones?
It's true.
I think it's because it's worldwide. If it was something more a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's a good point.
It's got to be the greatest ratings on TV, right? Game of Thrones has got to be
the most pirated show.
Yeah,
definitely.
Big time.
I don't know. I'm going to throw this out there. I'm thinking everyone's, the Lannisters are done this season. I think I talked about this. I don't remember if I talked about this last episode.
I don't think so.
I think Lannisters are done except for Tyrion.
Tyrion's got to reign in the new world for sure.
I hope to see Tyrion go on the throne.
Yeah,
sorry.
And I think
when Jaime finds, I think Jaime exactly. Yeah,
because he's the he's the Kingslayer.
One thing I like the most,
and it's poetic.
Yeah,
about Jaime, the one thing I like the most is he's had the most character development in the whole show.
Is he a villain?
Because he was at the first he was a jerk, he just but then he comes out.
You thought what he did was the worst thing in the show. Mm-hmm. Then you kept watching the show and you're like, that was nothing in compared to it. The other thing, though, is that Sansa, I think, also has a very good arc.
She's going to be a badass warrior princess.
She started with this prissy girl that was kind of a bee to everybody. And, I'm
it was tough to watch.
Queen of the North, I'm going to be the queen with him or whatever in King's Landing. And now, to the point where she was apologizing to Jon, the bastard of the family. But I think she might take it one step further. One of two things. She either is wise to Peter Baelish, or she's not, and she betrays Jon. I think because of the way the show goes.
But Peter's a total pedo.
Doesn't matter. He helped.
Doesn't matter.
He helped with the war.
Yeah, he did.
He helped him go through it.
Yeah.
Sansa is a Stark. No one knows that Jon is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. Bran's the only one, and we don't know what the heck's going on with him.
I think it's going to be a heavy Bran.
Well, Sansa does betray Jon. She's as cold as ice.
Wow.
Because they're in Winterfell.
I know. I get it.
Or not Winterfell anymore.
They're in Winterfell.
Are they?
Of course they are. He's the king of the North.
He's the king of the North, yeah.
Didn't that fall?
No, they saved it. You watched
I
the
binge
show,
watched
right?
it so much.
Yeah.
Okay, I lost a lot of
They
details.
won the Battle of the
Battle of the
Bastards.
Bastards. They got Winterfell back.
But what
Yeah.
got burned down and they all had to run away?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not sure what you were going for.
I don't know either.
Bo, what do you got?
I'm super excited. I don't know if this season is going to be about the Starks, but Bran and Arya are definitely the most exciting storylines, don't you think? Like
Arya. Oh, I love Arya.
But Arya, I can't wait for. She's I think the best
Batman
character on the
of
show.
Game of Thrones.
She's amazing.
Batman and Game of Thrones. Yeah.
She's gonna do a lot of badass stuff.
I like what you said about Bran's kind of thing. It was boring, but it had so much weight.
Boring, but
it gave so
impactful.
much of the story, and now you're thinking like, how is this going to tie in? He knows so much.
I know. I don't know, but it's always gonna be about the Starks, right? Like the Starks
Yeah.
are the heroes of the show.
Yeah.
I think from start to finish.
Anthony, other speculations?
I don't know. A joke did come to me though. I'm going to throw it on the air. I was going to talk about the Lannisters, who's going to rule that, and it came to me Jaime. And if he ruled, I think he'd rule with an iron fist.
Oh,
Because his hand got cut off and he has an iron fist now.
It's not a fist though; it's a hand.
It's a hand.
It's like an open.
I got to
palm.
hand it to you. Thank you for telling me.
Yeah, nice.
Jesus.
What do you guys think?
I hope Tyrion does go on the Iron Throne though.
I don't want him on the Iron
He
Throne.
will. Him and Daenerys.
I want him to be the hand. He respects Daenerys. He said it in
Yeah,
that last
she'll be
episode.
the
He
hand, yeah.
finally found a person, or a person that could be king that he can look up to.
Did you hear about I forgot his name, but that bald guy who kind of just like
Varys.
Yeah. Apparently, in the last scene of season 6, the guy totally didn't look like him at all, and people are saying that it's not him; it's someone else. Kind of going with Tyrion and.
Do you think it could be the what's his face? Who's the
man of many faces.
Yeah, what's his name?
Jahar. I forget.
Their names are so bad.
Yeah.
Like, you don't.
Well, there's so many
hard to
characters.
remember.
There's so many
Exactly,
characters in the universe.
It could be him. How else is he going to get there? And he's wondering where Arya
And
is.
apparently, because
Yeah.
he traveled really fast too. Like because he was somewhere else.
That theory with Varys though is that there's a theory that he's a merman. Like there's an actual flag of people. I forget the actual name, but there is people that live because in the first season I think they were
It's high
talking about.
fantasy.
Like,
I wouldn't put it behind Game of Thrones to have merman.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
like
high fantasy.
There's these like they don't have they've never shown it or anything like that, but they're like something. He said something to Tyrion about being pushed overboard, and he's like, you might not be happy with what comes from it or something like that. So there are speculations that he could be a merman. That's why he can travel so fast, but. I don't know.
Interesting.
Season's gonna be hype. 7
it's
episodes.
gonna be
It's
amazing.
gonna be boom boom.
I hear some might even be longer than an hour. They might
They
give
are,
us 3 or 4, like hour and
What?
a half.
Yeah.
Oh, that's gonna be so good.
Oh yeah, there's gonna be some that are gonna be like hour and a half. Like they're definitely gonna do that. Because think about it. Let's say they got rights for 13 episodes. Well, they're only gonna do 7, and they have these hours from the other episodes that they can pull from.
So much to do. Like, is Melisandre and the whole like witch factory going to come apart? Like,
I don't
are they
know.
going to play a role? In
They
the
showed that
films?
one girl in Marine, and
Yeah.
then you never saw her again.
Yeah.
So who is she? What is
She's
the
like
point?
one of the few people who stand up to Varys and like make him kind of like skittish.
Yeah,
Like,
it actually put him in his place,
Yeah.
and he was worried.
Yeah.
It's a lot of cool stuff. Moving on to video games. You have some PS5 news, from what I understand.
the people on the interwebs are talking about.
The interwebs, the famous.
So it's
The famous
speculation at
interwebs.
this point.
This is one Michael Pachter of Wedbush Security. He's infamous for like calling out the Wii date, Xbox One date, all the success and like decline. He's been very good at. He's a computer analyst, I guess, and he speculates that Sony will be launching a PS5 in 2019.
Interesting.
And when did the PS4 come out? 2013?
2014?
So that's pretty fast.
When did PS4 came out? When I remember it specifically because I waited
I think it was in
to get it.
You would.
The two.
You would.
I did.
Yeah.
It was like Black Flag and PS4 came out at the same time, or
Yeah.
it was Unity and the PS4. But I think it was Black Flag.
Yeah,
That
Black
would've been
Flag was first,
2014.
and then they did Unity and something else.
Yeah,
and
so the
Rogue,
PS4
I
was
think.
already out.
Yeah,
Was it Infinite Warfare that came out with the PS4 and Xbox One at the same time, or was it Ghosts?
Ghosts.
So that was 2013 then, I
Ghosts.
think.
Yeah, because Infinite Warfare was after Ghosts.
Right.
So I think it was 2013.
And then when the Pro came out this year or last year?
Wasn't it last year?
Last year, and
Yeah.
honestly, guys, like numbers are out, and like from the day of release until now, 10% of all sales are pros. Like it's not a high attach rate. People aren't
and
lining up for
he
pros.
works at a game store, so this is coming from
Well, at least you have the stats.
first-hand
Yeah.
source.
So there was no point of putting it out then, just for
Yeah.
that extra 10%.
Well,
It
just
was
to
weird.
rival Xbox One's all these different variants coming out.
Yeah, that's it. New hardware, and the tough thing about Sony is that they've already sold a gajillion units. They're going to hit the Wii. They're going to hit the 100 million. It's going to happen. And then when that happens, what do? You can't sell anymore.
Right.
So new hardware is kind of the next step. Like, let's get our consumers to upgrade.
It almost seems like the Madden thing, where every year they release a new Madden game, or like those yearly ones, and it's small.
I know,
like the smallest tweak, but then that second year is where they make a bigger jump. So it might be like the PS5 might just be a small tweak.
But it's kind of like the Wii U going to the Switch, how everyone was saying is way too fast, but the sales were going down.
The Wii U was a piece of garbage for great games, but like
Smash Bros. Oh, so good.
Yeah,
Smash Bros. Was great. Yeah, there was some good content there.
I'm still waiting for the port to the Switch, though.
I can't believe they didn't announce it.
Exactly, at E3.
Sony's in a tough spot, because like, I don't know what you do. New hardware makes sense, because like, for the past 12 months, for like the first time ever, now Xbox Ones are selling more than PS4s. Right. Because there's 3 times as many PS4s in the market. Everyone already has them. So now gamers are just getting the other ones. They can play the Halos, the Gears, the Forzas.
They're getting antsy.
Yeah. So
just get the new thing.
We don't even need new hardware. Like most people don't even have a 4K TV. Something like less than 5% of
I'm one of the gamers who doesn't care for graphics that much.
Yeah, I'm with you. Me too.
You know what? And for me, like, even you're looking at this right now, like my TV right now and my original PlayStation and the games that look beautiful, like again, like a Witcher 3 or an Uncharted 4 or The Last of Us, they look incredible. Like,
I'm with you.
I care more about the story. I don't need it. Like,
it looks fine. I don't need the 4K. I'm with you.
Yeah.
I think the gamers who want the graphics are on the PC.
100%.
And they'll pay up their PC out every 6 months.
Exactly.
So,
so PS5, we'll see what happens.
I don't see it. I see it more as like a PS4 Pro Plus. Like, it won't be a brand new console, but it'll be like the Xbox One X. Ooh, there's more bells and whistles.
So do you think if a guy like me who has the original PS4 when it first came out, that PS5 Plus or the PS4 Plus S or whatever you think it's going to be called, or what it's actually going to be hardware-wise, would that be a reasonable jump, or just continue waiting for like the official next one that's going to be groundbreaking?
I just keep waiting.
Well, it depends on your values, like, right? If you care about the graphics and it's a better, graphic system, go ahead. But if there's going to be this, like, it's kind of like the Wii and Wii U, how they had the same games going for a bit.
Yeah.
If you care about the games, just stay on your console.
Honestly, most humans can't tell the difference between like 720 and 1080p.
That's a good point.
So like, to go from 1080p to 4K, I think it's obvious, but some people can't tell. They're like, what am I looking at? I don't know. My girlfriend has no idea. I'm like, doesn't this look amazing? I'm like, wow, Planet Earth in 4K. She's like, it looks like it's just playing on my TV. I'm like, well, that's ridiculous.
You're wrong.
Yeah.
You're wrong.
But I don't see the need for a PS5. I think it'll be just like the PS4, where it has a very small attachment rate.
That's fair.
I wouldn't be getting an Xbox One X if I didn't have a 4K TV.
Right.
I'm one of the 5% that can actually utilize the hardware. And like, since I work at a game store, I kind of feel like I got to be on top of it.
So you got to. How can you sell something?
Exactly.
You tell your boss you get one for free just so you can help.
And it's only $600.
Oh yeah, Canadian,
which is amazing. It should be like $800-900 Canadian, but Microsoft's taking a huge hit.
Well, with the Xbox One, they totally overpriced it at start.
Well, it's because they had that crappy Kinect camera, right?
I hate the Kinect.
Yeah. And they tried to shove it down everyone's throat.
Yeah, Don Matrick's like, it needs Kinect, it's crucial. Then Matrick gets fired a year and a half later, and Phil Spencer's like, no more Kinect, and it's $150 cheaper, and it's sold way better.
Well, we're going to see what's that's going to be like. What I do want to talk about, though, because we were talking about this kind of during the week, as we were kind of like setting up for you to come onto the show and everything like that, and we were talking about video game movies.
Oh yeah, that's
we
right.
We were kind of talking like, and Anthony, you had a lot of people that commented.
Let's check.
That were kind of giving some ones. This is a big topic.
1,594 comments.
Jeez.
So there has been,
Anthony went through every single one. He read every single one.
We're going to read every single one on the show right now.
Get ready for the next hour.
So, just take a week or two off of work, settle down with us, and listen.
Yeah.
There has been a lot. I'd say probably the biggest one would be Overwatch, but people are saying they'd prefer a TV show rather than a movie.
Gotcha.
One comment that I just see right now is from Daily Comic Facts, our sponsor, saying Overwatch.
Overwatch would make a really great Saturday morning cartoon.
Oh, it would.
Versus an
goofy, silly, fun for kids, PG.
For a comment, though, that was kind of interesting to me. Tyler_McClark said Minecraft, but a serious version. A man unaware of how he arrived on an unknown land. With creatures in the night he must survive.
So we're thinking like a Black Mirror, Twilight Zone kind of like.
That'd be cool.
And that actually sounds kind of interesting.
That sounds more interesting than just like a Minecraft movie where people build things, because that's like, you take the premise of what the game is and it's like, how do you do it? But they made successful Lego movies. These blocks.
And Telltale made a successful story-based Minecraft game with 100%. No mining and crafting.
Actually, there was a lot of people saying Telltale, but I feel like those are basically movies that you can play.
Those are movies. Yeah, 100%.
So, like, if you put on the movie, you're kind of rooting that thing where you're making the choices and you're actually playing.
It's an interactive movie.
Yeah, it's like a Goosebumps Choose Your Own Adventure kind of at that point. I think. I like them. Some people don't.
Yeah.
So this one guy.
It's tough. It's tough because
They've ruined so many.
Games are almost already movies.
Mm-hmm.
They're so cinematic these days.
Well, and that was my point, is that, and we just talked, like, we were talking about this during the week, we talked about this just before the show started. For me, because there's so much content, the only reason you care about the characters in there is because you've had time to live with them and be them for the time period, right?
Hundreds of hours.
You look at Zelda Ocarina of Time, a game I played hours and hours for. Even the originals from the NES, like, you follow that character for years. You can't put that into, even they're pushing movies to 2 hours, close to.
Yeah.
You still can't fit all that content in there and make it worthwhile and be like, yeah, this is a good adaptation.
100%. I'm with you.
And speaking of kind of your points, Abyss.Shaw0207, sorry if I mispronounced the name, he said, I don't know. They've already ruined Assassin's Creed, Hitman, and Max Payne. I've lost faith.
Yeah, Hitman was bad.
There was 2 Hitmen, weren't there?
Wasn't there one that came out last year or something?
Yeah. And the first one had, what's his face? He was from, he's on a few things. He was a bad guy in Live Free or Die Hard as well. I'm blanking. Timothy Oliphant.
Okay, yeah.
That one was not that good. He wasn't a good Hitman at all. But again, you can't cram it in there.
You can't.
Take a game, and I talk about it on the show all the time, like The Witcher 3, over 100 hours of gameplay. How do you do that? You can't do it.
Netflix show.
And that's where the Netflix shows come in. Assassin's Creed.
I feel like I said this.
So much lore, and the thing is, you can go anywhere in a game like Assassin's Creed. The whole game is built on a person going into the DNA and going back into whatever era they want. That is made for a TV show.
Yeah. Did you see the movie?
You could almost do an anthology series where every season is different characters in different time zones.
I was talking about this last week. Every episode could be him going somewhere different and then tying in 5 or 6 people tapped into this thing that, like, almost
an overarching.
It'd be kind of like Gotham season 1, where they kind of just had new different villains each episode.
Yeah, each episode's own tale that has an overarching.
But for video game, just to kind of type the questions, most people, though, kind of the biggest hitters were Overwatch.
Sure.
Yeah, of course.
The Last of Us.
Definitely.
Uncharted.
Yeah.
And a couple of people said Grand Theft Auto 5, but I have no idea how that would work.
Grand Theft Auto 5 would be kind of like, because they have the 3 characters, they just make it a heist movie, which still wouldn't be good because
I feel like it ended up being like a Fast and Furious kind of thing.
I think you lose the spirit of Grand Theft Auto.
100%. And because they do so many heists in the game anyways, like, you go through so many with them, what, are you going to just pick one?
Yeah.
And everyone has to already be invested.
Yeah.
How do you get invested in the characters without actually having to play them and getting to know what their personalities are? It'd be really tough to do because ultimately you're looking at some like Ocean's 11 or type of thing with only 3 guys.
Only 3 guys who are not as interesting as the Ocean's 11 cast.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Like, you have 1 or 2 characters that are really interesting, and then you got your wet blanket of it that no one really cares about.
Yeah.
At least if you had 1 or 2 people that you didn't care about in Ocean's 11, well, there was 9 other guys that you can go to.
Yeah,
so.
I'm here. I hear with that.
But that about rounds it up for the questions. Anything else in the video game world, Beau?
I think PS5 was the biggest news. The other big news was that previously all retailers like Amazon, Walmart, Best Buy, EB, everyone was listing first-party Nintendo games at $100.
Oh.
So people were scared that Canadians were going to see a jump in first-party software, and then maybe EA and Activision would follow suit. Gotcha. But that has since been closed down. They're back to $80.
And also,
rest assured.
Speaking about Amazon, did you hear what the pre-order scare they had with the Super Nintendo or whatever it's called?
SNES Classic.
And they just kept on selling pre-orders.
Oh, that's so stupid.
Since you work at a game store, did you sell any pre-orders, or how do you not do it?
The problem with the reason people don't pre-order is because Nintendo doesn't give people quantities. Nintendo doesn't say, here, your company can have 3,000, pre-order these. And Amazon with the NES Classic got burnt because they gave everyone a bunch of coupons because they pre-ordered thousands of them and couldn't hand them out. So most retailers are just like, nah.
That's Nintendo's biggest fault, understock.
Which, is it a fault or is it a good thing, dude? Everyone's talking about them. It's free marketing. Everyone's hyped.
I was hunting for that Nintendo Switch for months.
Yeah. But it's called creating demand.
Yeah.
Because when that thing comes out, it's going to go like wildfire again. And
100%.
they're just going to have these huge spikes. There is that conversation of it, like, if you do it enough, if you don't, like, if you don't provide enough, or people are going to be upset. Or if your product is that good, they'll wait.
And like speaking of how they kind of understocked it, how is it now? Are people still kind of coming in daily asking
calls
for Switches?
every day? I feel like I'm a free Nintendo rep. Like people are calling, asking me Nintendo questions all the time.
And with all the hype games coming out, Splatoon 2 is this week, I believe.
July 21st.
So next week, and then you
Tuesday.
have ARMS that came out recently, and then Legend of Zelda, which I think will probably win or be at least nominated for Game of the Year this year.
Shortlist, 100%. Mario Odyssey will probably be on the shortlist.
I cannot wait for Mario Odyssey, and they pushed it up to October 27th.
And it's been getting great reviews already.
People everyone gets their hands on it. It's like you don't even know how good this game is.
It's one player, which is interesting for a Mario game, but it looks so good. I'm down for it.
It goes back to Super Mario 64.
Yeah.
That game was everything to me.
Mario 64, Mario Galaxy, and now this one, it seems like the same line of games. They're doing it again.
Well, let us know if you're on YouTube. Comment below what you think in terms of video game movies. Just going back to that one, which ones you think. Go on Entertain Facts on Instagram. Let the page know. Get your comments in there. And also, if you have any suggestions or questions or so, just email us at thefwordpodcast@gmail.com. Anthony, you've got some wrestling news for us?
So for WWE, I'm not going to lie, SmackDown and Raw this week were a bit dry. I wasn't really engaged with them, but I did pick top 3 moments from both shows. And I'm going to go from my least, well, not least here, but from 3 to 2, then to 1.
Yeah, let's hear it.
So on my third one, wasn't really on SmackDown or Raw, but it was the Raw pay-per-view, the greatest name ever created, Great Balls of Fire. As I said last week or something, it was a pretty ballsy title.
Goodness gracious.
But one of the best matches, in my opinion, was Brock Lesnar versus Samoa Joe for the Universal Championship.
Yeah.
I thought the match was pretty good, but how they ended it because Samoa Joe was just beating the crap out of Lesnar, and then just one F5, and then he's out. He was just destroying him for like minutes.
It's just great to see Brock fighting, man. It doesn't happen very often, so when he's on stage,
that was like first time since April 3rd that the first time he defended it in general. Second one was a tag team match between AJ Styles and John Cena on the same team versus Kevin Owens and Rusev on the other team, which is building hype between the matches at Battlegrounds. I believe it's July 23rd. John Cena will be facing Rusev in a flag match, and then Kevin Owens will be facing AJ Styles for the, as I discussed last week, the lost United States Championship. And then my favorite moment from this week, and I'd say in recent WWE history, well, for this year at least, was the Roman Reigns, Samoa Joe, and Brock Lesnar segment. This was kind of building up hype for a SummerSlam match against Brock Lesnar, and people were saying they want to see Samoa Joe be the champion, or basically anyone but Brock Lesnar because he barely shows up. And it was just, everyone was spitting fire at each other, just roasting everyone. Samoa Joe and Lesnar, you could feel a tension from the last night from losing the championship or losing the title shot. It was really good. I thought there was really good roasts. It was just, you could feel a tension while watching it on TV. And then we're going to move into some WWE news and rumor. So one of the biggest rumors, I believe it happened today, was the Talking Smack after show of SmackDown is going to be canceled. Currently the reason is unknown, but kind of the rumor going behind it is that it will be used for SmackDown pay-per-views only afterwards. And then, I believe she does host Talking Smack. Renee Young's WWE Network show, Unfiltered with Renee Young, has been canceled. Reasons also unknown. And then there's been some rumors for SummerSlam matches, which is pretty hype. There's John Cena face AJ Styles,
which is going to be huge. That has to be a real rumor, right?
Oh yeah,
people really want that.
But people did want to see AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura from their
they underuse Nakamura though all the time. That's not a surprise.
From their New Japan Pro Wrestling days, at the Money in the Bank match where they kind of stared each other off. Oh, people were losing their minds.
Yeah, it was exciting.
But speaking of that match, AJ versus Nakamura, according to people behind the scenes, it actually isn't even being discussed at this point. So maybe at WrestleMania 34, but definitely not at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
And then about a return to SummerSlam, ProWrestlingInsider.com claims that there are plans for Nikki Bella to appear at SummerSlam, and then her sister, Brie Bella, will be appearing at Comic-Con this year. That's all the rumors and news I've kind of thought were worthy to talk about and kind of interesting.
Well, you mentioned SummerSlam.
A lot.
Big deal.
Oh, yes. That's probably one of the... I'd say second biggest,
the number 2,
exactly,
say, right?
Yeah. But there's a lot of hyped matches. There's a lot of big, because they've been losing ratings a lot, so they're going to put up a lot of blockbuster matches, try to build up all the ratings.
So then, in terms of so they're stacking it pretty much, stacking the show. Then out of all that stacked pantheon of athletes, which one's going to be the most hyped match?
Okay, so AJ Styles versus John Cena is definitely one of them.
Yeah,
there's not a lot confirmed currently.
Sure,
but I'd say AJ Styles or John Cena, or it's going to be either Roman Reigns or Samoa Joe versus Brock Lesnar. I have heard that it might turn into a triple threat match. We'll definitely bring the house down.
Yeah,
that'll be amazing. But I think it'll just be Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar, and Roman Reigns will obviously win the title.
You have to, yeah.
But I'm excited for SummerSlam. I cannot wait.
And when is that again?
I believe it's sometime in August 23rd, maybe, but don't quote me on that. It's sometime around that area.
Cool.
That's a bit. Oh God, why can't I talk? That's
okay.
about it for wrestling news.
You've been talking for almost an hour, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Getting tongue tied.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. I think that's everything that we got. But Anthony, do you have entertaining fact for us to finish us off?
Entertaining fact to finish us off. Yes.
You can find all these facts on Instagram under Entertain Facts.
So this does tie in with kind of our topic this week, which was Game of Thrones.
Yep.
And I don't know if I'm going to pronounce this right because, as I said before, the names in Game of Thrones are horrendous to pronounce. But Maester Aemon Targaryen of the Night's Watch is revealed to be blind in the novels. He was played by Peter Vaughan, which I don't think I'm pronouncing right at all, but he was actually legally partially blind himself, so, you know, kind of like a Daredevil scene, but he's actually kind of feeling around the room, which was pretty cool to me.
Yeah, so it actually helped his acting.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Well, Beau, I can't thank you enough for coming on to the show. Thank you so much.
Again, the link will be in description below for his bonus round show. No pun intended.
Yeah.
That's called the Bonus Round Live. You can catch it on CJTR.ca 91.3. And that's on Wednesdays from 6 to 7 and replayed on Fridays from 9 to 10, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that's our show for this week. Please comment on the YouTube video. You can find us again on iTunes and email us any questions you have.
Let us know.
SoundCloud for the time being until SoundCloud gets canceled entirely.
What's the question for fans this week? Like, what they're hyped for Game of Thrones, or what are we asking for?
Yeah,
like,
send us anything you have for Game of Thrones. What do you think your speculations are going to be?
And then Look Out Entertain Facts are kind of the main podcast question for a chance to be featured on the show.
Whoa,
yes,
look at
definitely. So yeah, comment on the YouTube page, email us at the F-Word Podcast
at gmail.com.
Like our Facebook page. We have CEO and founder of Entertain Facts, Anthony.
Hello.
We got Beau.
I'm just an average dude.
And I'm Simply G. Thanks again.
Who knew?